Hey guys, this is Not Lammers of Invoked 101. Welcome back, and today we're doing the Fortune Fairy deck profile. So this is the last deck that's coming out of Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge, and it is easily the worst one. It's like Vision Heroes, Battle Wasps, and then way at the bottom is Fortune Fairies. They are very much confusing to many players as they don't really have a win con. They have cards that draw cards, and then they have the effect of when they're drawn to special summon them, but they're all 0/0, and yes, they do have a card that gives them attack points, but all of them being base 0/0 doesn't really do anything. So they're not going to get over anything. And a couple of them they do have unique effects, but it doesn't really help them too much. But there is some stuff you can do to make this deck have a win condition, and you can do other things such as adding dangers to the deck. But that's besides the point. Anyways, before we get into this deck, down in the description there's a link to our Patreon, so if you like supporting the channel, that's the way to do it. You can also get yourself some cool stuff by backing us, such as an Invoked 101 mat. There's also the Teespring, so if you feel like supporting us that way, you get yourself a shirt or a hoodie. Stuff is pretty cheap on there. And then the last thing is our Discord, which if you feel like chatting with us, that's where to do it. And all those are, of course, down in the description. So I'm going to set these spells and traps off to the side, and we're going to get right into the monsters. Zoom in just a touch. So the first monster we have is Fortune Fairy Hikari. This is their level 1, and its effect is when you draw... Oh, the shared effect between all of them, and I'm just going to say the draw effect or the summon effect going forward, as it's just easier. So the effect that all of them share is when you draw this card, you can reveal it, special summon it from your hand. And then it has another effect, which is if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can target one monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon one level 1 spellcaster monster from your deck. You can only use each effect of Hikari once per turn. So it basically just tags itself out, or another Fortune Fairy you control for a different monster. Then we have Fortune Fairy Sui, and it has the special summon effect, and then it says if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can banish one spellcaster monster from your deck, and then you can only use each effect of Sui once per turn. Oh, this is Anne, not Sui, I'm sorry. Then we have the level 3 Fortune Fairy Hu, and this one has the special summon effect, and then it says if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can target one of your banished spellcaster monsters, add it to your hand. So, which these actually do have coinciding a Fortune Lady that coincides with them. So these ones are currently the best ones because of that. And then we have triple Fortune Fairy Ein, which says it has the special summon effect, and then it says if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can target one set card your opponent controls, destroy it, which is kind of like bleh because they could just chain it. And then we have the last one that we run at 3, which is Fortune Fairy Sui. And this one has the special summon effect, or the special summon effect, and then it says if this card is special summoned from the hand, target one other face-up monster on the field, banish it until the standby phase of your next turn. So that one's also pretty good just because it gets something out of the way. It's kind of like a Farfa. Actually, I think that's like directly Farfa's effect. Oh, forgot the last one, Fortune Fairy Chi. So Fortune Fairy Chi has the special summon effect, and we're only playing one of it because it's kind of the weakest one. And it says, if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can make each player draw one card. Which some people might think that's like the best effect, but I don't like giving my opponent draws, so we kind of wanted to minimize on that when me and Mio were building this deck. And then the last monsters we were playing in the deck is Exodia. As this deck does like to draw cards, so being able to actually have a win condition for these things is kind of necessary, and we decided to go with Exodia, not only because it fills up the deck, but also because it's a win condition in himself, so might as well have played him. After that, we have the spells and traps. So the first one we've got is the quick play spell, Unacceptable Result, which says if you control a spellcaster monster, special summon a Fortune Fairy from your hand. So and it's not once per turn, and it is a quick play, so it's kind of like, so that's pretty cool, just being able to buff yourself that way. And then we have Lucky Loan. This is the other spell card. Its effect is target one Fortune Fairy monster you control, special summon one spellcaster monster from your hand or deck whose original level is 1 lower than that monster's. Also, during your next turn, after this card resolves, you cannot normal or special summon monsters except spellcasters. You can only activate one Lucky Loan per turn. So this is just to start getting stuff on the board. And then we play Triple Miracle Stone. This card says you can only control one Miracle Stone. All spellcaster monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense for each Fortune Fairy monster you control with different names. Once per turn, when an attack is declared involving your Fortune Fairy monster, you can draw one card. So this is probably one of the better cards in the deck, if not the best one, simply because it lets them do stuff, kinda. Even though it's basically like, hey, start losing, start drawing cards, which is kind of like not what you want to do at that point, but it's all fine. Then we have Triple Wonder Wand. This says, equip only to a spellcaster monster, it gains 500 attack. If you control the equipped monster and this card, you can send them both to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. So, this is pretty cool just because it lets you send them away and then get more on the field. And then the last draw spell we play is Gold Moon Coin. So a lot of people kind of wrote this card off because it is pretty bad, but in this deck you want to get as many draws as possible so that way you can start going into more link plays. So its effect is add 2 cards from your hand to your opponent's, then draw 2 cards. You can only activate 1 Gold Moon Coin per turn. And then we have 1 1-for-1 and 1 Reasoning, since they're all different levels. And that's it for the spells. We do play 3 traps in this deck. The 3 traps we play are, of course, And the Ban Played On. So this is a really cool card. I was going through my collection binder trying to figure out what last 3 cards I could put in this deck, and then I saw this and I remembered playing this back in Zodiac format when everyone was playing like level 4 decks. So this says neither player can special summon monsters with the same level as those they control, and neither player can special summon monsters with the same rank as those they control. So this basically prevents, like, all of the Fortune Fairies are different levels. They're from like 6 down. So because of that, they all work with this card. Just let you pop off while your opponent doesn't necessarily get to do anything. They kind of have to sit there and use different leveled monsters. And while a lot of decks currently do have different leveled monsters, this does come in handy against a lot of those decks. All right. And that's it, really, for this deck. Now, of course, you can play Link Monsters, and it's actually very much recommended that you play Link Monsters. Stuff like Borreload, stuff like Saryuja, as you can make that. Zeraboros would work pretty well in here. So, like, you want, like, a Borreload. Okay, just going off. And like a Zeraboros, and then like Saryuja and stuff like that. As you can actually make these, as it does make Link 4s pretty easily, per se. Like in theory it does, because they all draw, but you just want like monsters that keep progressing your link climbing and do stuff like that, which is why I didn't really necessarily build an extra deck for this, because it's just supposed to, it doesn't really have a direct win condition other than, I guess, link climb. And now that we're getting the Fortune Lady reprints and the new Fortune Lady cards, these do have somewhat of a purpose, as the Fortune Ladies have draw cards that let you use these guys a little bit better, such as mainly the Who and Anne. These two are really good together, especially in the Fortune Lady deck. But with that all said, tell me what you guys thought about this deck in the comments below. I know it's not like the greatest deck. It's definitely a strange archetype in itself, as they don't really do much, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. And while you're down there, check out the description for all 3 of those links: the Patreon, the Teespring, and the Discord, if you feel like chatting with us or backing us in any way. And I'll see you guys in the next video.